Hey everyone, and welcome back to the stream and happy Veterans Day to those of you that have served. I want to say personally thank you. Today, I want to discuss some things that are upcoming about AAPC membership fees. I want to talk about certifications. I want to talk about books and all of that good stuff. I'm going to move some stuff right now because I have my Instagram live going as well, and I know I can't see the comments in the same spot that I see the other comments, and I don't wanna ignore my lovely Instagram audience, so I'm gonna pull them in so I can make sure that I am seeing all of their stuff as well. Thank you. Victoria S says she loves my mic. This is the Elgato Wave Neo, and they come with different foam caps so that you can change the color so that it matches the aesthetics of your office. So yeah, it's a cute one. I'll honestly say I really liked the Blue Yeti microphones. That's the one I have at home, but these are pretty good too, and it's cute. I don't think the audio is quite as good as the Blue Yeti, but it's so compact and cute, right? Anyway, let's get in today. I have a treat for you guys. Let's get into the stream. I have our intro back with with new audio. So thank you everyone. Wow, we're getting a good audience today. So let's just not take too much time and we'll get straight into it. All right. Well, hello everyone. Thank you for joining in on the live stream today. Hello to Stacy and Susan. We had a lot of people joining in. My God. Launchpad guide for exam tips and tricks. We'll talk about it. We'll talk about it. But I got some business. I actually just recorded. I just finished a YouTube short, a TikTok, and Instagram reel. It's going to go on all platforms soon, talking about that we are about to get a bit of a price increase on the AAPC membership dues. So let's take a look at what we got over here. I'm gonna share my screen. Okay, so this email came out November 8th. At least that's when I got it. Hold on. There we go. That's where I want to be. So this came out on November 8th, and it's from the AAPC member connection email. And it talks about how we have an increase coming for membership dues. So that's going to be basically an extra dollar every month. Membership dues, I think, have increased every single year since I've been an AAPC member, which I think is going on 15, 16 years now. We honestly get so much more than we did back when I was a member. When I was a member, we used to get the magazine and chapter meetings, and those weren't even as robust. So, like, if you were in an area where your chapter didn't meet a lot or their meetings were not great, you were kinda stuck with it. But now we have a lot more benefits, and I think it's important to notice because they are outlined in the email that they did send out for this. So, it's something that you just really have to anticipate. If you're a member of the AAPC, you need to know that there's gonna be a couple dollars increase usually every year. I honestly don't recall any years where we haven't had an increase. But we do get a lot for that membership fee. I don't wanna say we get things free, but they're included in the membership fee because you don't wanna say free 'cause it's not free. You have to pay for your membership to your fee, so included in your membership. So you get 12 copies of AAPC, the magazine, formerly Healthcare Business Monthly, formerly Coding Edge. Definitely check out the December issue. I think there's gonna be something cool coming up in there in a couple of weeks. You might wanna keep an eye out, you guys, for that one. But the cool thing about the magazine is you do get CEUs. So they have a quiz that's based off of the content of the magazine. You complete the quiz, you pass it, and it'll automatically add that CEU into your tracker, which is pretty cool. Um, I don't know where they're coming up with these values from. I mean, how do you really value a magazine at $450 a year? I mean, I wouldn't say $450 a year, but okay. Like, yeah, alright. And then you do get 4 annual CEUs that are members only. Now, here's the thing I wanna say about these member-only CEUs, right? They used to be quarterly, but then they'd kind of get behind on them sometimes, and people were like, "Where's our quarterly webinar? It's, the end of the quarter and it's not here yet," and people got all mad. So they just said, "Well, we're gonna give you 4 a year." So they don't wanna commit to quarterly and say like, "Oh yeah, every, 3 months we're gonna give you one," but they do have 4 a year. Now, I wanna hold on. I gotta get a drink for this one. So I'm just gonna say this about our current stack of quarterly CEUs, right? So there are 4 members only CEUs that you're supposed to get a year, these 4 free webinars. No longer quarterly, just 4 free webinars, okay? This is the page that has them on them. It's linked in the email that you got, so if you wanna go directly to this, you can. But here's the thing. So some of these are really good topics. Other than them, they have repurposed. And here's where I'm getting confused. You're not supposed to double dip AAPC CEUs. So let's say I go out and I see Rita Genovese and she's doing her presentation on generational workforce in one chapter. And if I go and watch it again, I'm technically not supposed to take those CEUs again because I've already seen that presentation. But the presentation that we have from October of 2024, I already saw in HealthCon 2024 because they literally are just repurposing this and giving it to members for free. So then am I not getting actually 4 free CEUs this year? I'm only getting 3 because I already saw this presentation and claimed it, I think. I know I've seen this presentation before. So am I not supposed to claim it again? This is, little nuanced things that I'm like, "But I thought we said we wouldn't double dip on the CEU." But anyway, um, I have one person asking here, "Victoria, I just kindly wanted to ask, is this live video being recorded?" Yep, it will be recorded. It'll be available on YouTube and LinkedIn. For some reason, Facebook's not working today. It's been so touchy. We are on Instagram Live right now, so for those of you that are joining on the Instagram yeah, on the Instagram Live, I'm watching you up here on my 3rd monitor, um, and checking in on the comments. I don't know, it doesn't tell me 24 people on Instagram right now. So so it'll be available on YouTube and LinkedIn, but not on Facebook and not on Instagram. It doesn't get the recording of it. So if you wanna check it out there if you have to pop in and out. Thank you for asking that. So let's kinda continue down this stream of thought. So next we have in here, we got the AI and medical coding certificate course this past year, which was free. Some people were like, "Yeah, I found it super, super helpful." It was ooh, I had trouble keeping attention to that one. It was not my favorite. It was not my favorite. Um, but it was a free part of our membership or included part of our membership. We also have lots of unlimited free and low cost CEUs at our local chapter meetings. Thank God. There was some talk last year about maybe changing that up. Did not happen, thankfully. So I am in northeastern Pennsylvania. I've gone to a lot of different chapters in my area. I'm kind of in between the Allentown Reading area. There used to be one in Doylestown I would go up to. I go out to Lancaster. I go out to Philadelphia has a chapter that I've been to their seminar sometimes. Um, York, haven't been to in person yet. I think I've attended some of theirs virtually, but yeah, I travel. I go out to the different chapters. I'm lucky enough to have that locally, but you could also visit local chapters virtually as well. So, such a huge plethora to choose from these days. Like, it's a lot, and we have to reimburse these chapters a couple dollars to support them and all their efforts for each person that comes so that they have money for their Zoom accounts, for their pizza, for their, giveaways and raffles and all that good stuff that they need. Um, Now it also says in here 13 exclusive billing and coding tools to enhance productivity. I don't think that's true. And now that I'm calling people out, but I don't think it's exclusive because I logged onto the AAPC website on incognito mode and the RVU calculator, the E&M calculator, that all works without you being logged into a member account. So I wouldn't really say that those are exclusive when they are actually accessible by everyone. Just a nuanced thing about the way that this was worded. 25 micro learning vouchers. If you're not sure how to get to these because they didn't link them here, they are under your membership benefits. Hold on. I think it's under learning library. So membership learning library, if you're not familiar with how to get to those. And there's your 25 vouchers for the member professional development library, which is not what they called it in the email, but what did they call it in the email? Micro learnings. But what they mean is the member professional development library. So you get 25 vouchers for that. And those aren't coding related, they're more so professional development related. So, how to not miss the details, important ethical questions to ask, humor, sarcasm, conflict, bending time to your will, you know, conflict management, customer service, that kind of stuff. But again, that's included. These don't have CEUs to them, but they are available. Oh, so this rank, so I love, okay, someone mentioned about, hold on here. I love your ring, congratulations. So, interesting thing about that. So if you're not aware, I recently got married last month. So my name's transitioning, or I got my paperwork. I have to go to the DMV and get my ID and stuff yet. From Victoria Mole to Victoria Vote. I do not wear my actual engagement or wedding ring for a couple of reasons. In case anyone's ever like looking at screenshots and they're like, "What the heck's going on there?" Um, I travel a lot. I go to theme parks quite a bit, and I also do a lot of weightlifting and a lot of aerial work. So, like, I practice on different apparatuses where you're not supposed to wear metal rings. So this is actually just a silicone ring that I wear in place of my bands because otherwise I'd be taking them off, putting them on, taking them off, putting them on, losing where they are probably, and I don't want to risk that. So I wear a silicone band constantly. It's very rare that I'm ever out, like if I'm out and about and at an event or something, like locally, like date night or something, I will wear my engagement ring and wedding band, but usually you'll just see me in this because otherwise I'm gonna risk that I'm gonna go into a pool and it's gonna fall off and stuff. I don't wanna do that. So yeah, I wear I wear a silicone band pretty much constantly. Um, yeah, so if you see me at HealthCon or something and you're like, "Oh, why has Victoria not got like her big fat rock on?" It's 'cause I rarely wear it. I waited forever for it and then just yeah, isn't that terrible to never wear it? But in any case, going on back about the email with the membership increase. So, it says there's gonna be a 4-part career development series. I think I've seen that on the website somewhere. And then everyday discounts, which, dude, I have to go through this with you guys because I didn't even realize how much of these we have. If you go through okay, so there's an app. I don't like the app as much because it's funny, like, it was working for me perfectly for a while, and then it's like, "Yeah, I don't really wanna work for you anymore." And then now I just go online and to the desktop app or the desktop site, and it works a lot better. So, it's not right at the top, it's, like, down here more. Unlock here it is. Members only discounts on world-renowned brands. Start saving today. And this is the AAPC member discounts, and there's a ton of them. So if you're going to HealthCon, you can get discounted Walt Disney World tickets through the purchasing that you get with HealthCon and booking your hotels and all of that. Like, you get, like, an after 4 p.m. ticket for, like, a discount. But if you're like, "I wanna go to Universal Studios," you can actually use this website to get discount tickets for Universal while we're there. SeaWorld, Disneyland, you can get, like, Domino's Pizza, Arby's, like, food, hotels, everything, like, it's crazy, like, you can save a ton of money, and I've done it before with buying tickets and things. You can get a ton and ton of like, Applebee's discount, like, don't forget that this is here because you can save on a lot of stuff, and that is included in your membership. So If you're buying someone an edible arrangement anytime soon, you can you can save yourself a few dollars. Um, Other than that, we also have I'm gonna close this window before I forget, the discounts. I guess they're supposed to be doing, like, an 8-part career series too coming out next year, and yeah, so there's a lot more. There's, been certain webinars that they have. They do, like, an ask a recruiter, and then sometimes they'll have ones that are on, like, compliance or ethics or something, and you think they might not offer CEUs, but then they do. So you have to pay attention to those emails that are coming through, at least, like, skim through them because sometimes there are, like, free CEU opportunities that they have in there. So, yeah, there is gonna be a slight increase to that. Oh, and member orientation, they've started doing those too, which is, kinda cool. I like that. Jumpstart your health career, member savings, reminders, new practice exams, salary surveys, insights are coming soon. I love when that salary survey comes out. That's one of my favorite videos to go through. And the hardship fund, I asked several people on both boards during our last conference why I've not seen any fundraising for the hardship fund, and everyone kind of went, "I don't know, that's not me, that's in charge of so and so, that's in charge of so and so," and I went down the chain and everyone's like, "Yeah, I don't know." And then we had hurricanes and we need money from the hardship fund. Ah, ah, driving me nuts. Anyway, let's get into some of today's questions as we're going through. I wanted to address one that came through because I don't hear and I think this is an important one that I just wanna give an overall directive on. It says, "Victoria, will you be a guest for my LinkedIn Live podcast?" So here's where I stand on going to other people's podcasts, events, etcetera. Um, I used to say yes to just about every podcast that was out there. But what was happening is a lot of people were asking that really didn't know what I did, or I would try to explain to them what I did, and I thought I did a good job, and they'd bring me on and they'd be like, "Oh, well, this really isn't what we kind of wanted." So, that was happening. What was also happening was people would bring me onto podcasts, and then they'd be like, "Hey, this is episode 5, here's Victoria," and then by episode 10, like, they were gone. They didn't podcast anymore. So, my current policy on coming on other people's lives and podcasts is you have to hit at least episode 30. Once you've hit episode 30, then hit me up and see if I have the ability, but you have to have at least 30 episodes first, just so I make sure that I'm not gonna be episode 6 and then that's gonna be the end of the podcast. You can contact me at hello@contempocoding.com, and that will get you in the right direction for all the information. So Sweet Ange here is asking, do you need to have a membership before taking the CPC exam? Yes. So there's officially two requirements in order to sit for the AAPC exam. You have to be an AAPC member and you have to pay the exam fee. Everything else is like recommended stuff, but those are the two things you have to do. You have to be a member of the AAPC. You have to continue being a member of the AAPC in order to maintain that membership. So you can't just like join membership, pass the exam, and then cancel your membership. You have to keep paying those membership dues every single year. Otherwise, you will lose your credentials. If that ever happens by accident, they do have extension fees. So if you go on one day and you're like, oh my God, what happened to all my credentials? And you realize that you didn't renew your membership last month, they'll be like, hey, you can pay us X amount of dollars to renew. Otherwise, you have to like sit for all those exams again for whatever credentials you have. Kayla asks, what entry-level positions would you recommend for someone that works for a nonprofit in their AP field but wants to transfer into their AR department to get experience in the revenue cycle process? Um, what entry-level positions? I don't know that there's an entry-level position before transferring to the AR department. I would just kind of retool your resume so that it really focuses on those transferable skills for accounts receivable. because I don't know that there's something that would be like a stepping stone into accounts receivable other than maybe registration or scheduling. If anyone else has ideas, definitely drop them in the comments. Dorothy says, "Hey Dorothy, here I'm in PA2. I'm taking self-study medical billing and coding. I'm looking to connect with someone with some experience and possibly advancements. I'm almost finished. I tried Facebook, no one is there." Check with your AAPC local chapter. You can, if you're not a member yet, attend up to 2 meetings before they will ask you to become a member. So if you're not certified yet, and you're like, "I'm gonna hold off a little bit until I take certification, so I don't wanna pay for my membership yet," you can attend a couple of chapter meetings, and they can see if there's anyone available in your local chapter that can help you out. There's quite a few in Pennsylvania, so you should be able to find one that's not too far off. Before I forget, you guys. Yep. Got my Thanksgiving shirt on today. This is the Struck by a Turkey shirt. It is on the merch store, and you should probably order it soon if you wanna have it in time for Thanksgiving. It's a very popular shirt, especially if you have to go in person to the office. It's a lovely one to wear to show off your coding Thanksgiving spirit. I'll show you guys where it is on the website. Bum, bum, bum. If you oh my gosh, stop. There we go. So if you go to contempocoding.com, it'll redirect you here, but you can just type in contempocoding.com, and there's the merch button. It's also linked in the description of most of the streams and stuff. And I just added a few new different products. I love these hoodie shirts. They're one of my faves. So I think I added one that has to keep on coding on in the hoodie shirt. I ordered a couple more. I think they're supposed to come either to they might not come today because it's Veterans Day and there's no mail. So I'm thinking either tomorrow or Wednesday. But the turkey shirt, so we have it in short sleeve, hoodies, long sleeve, baseball tees. I like these ones too that have the little lines on them. And you can also buy it as a loungewear set. So that is available on the Contempo Coding merchandise website. I have a question here. I'm a nurse. In regards to self-study, how does one know where to begin in preparation for the CPC exam? You're gonna start at the beginning. If you're gonna do self-study and you just wanna buy, like, the CPC training books or study guides, you start from I mean, if you already know med term, I guess you could skip that. I recommend the step-by-step medical coding books. I'm not sure if the 2025s are out yet. I haven't looked. Those are by Bucks, so they're called Step-by-Step Medical Coding. There's a textbook and there's a workbook. Now, they've bounced back and forth as far as what answers they're gonna provide to the questions in the book. I don't wanna say I bullied them into providing them all at one point, but, a lot of viewers that I recommended them to, and they said, "Well, not all the answers to the questions in there, or how am I supposed to blah, blah, blah." So, I think it was 2023, they made sure that all of the answers to the questions were in the book, so if you did the worksheets and stuff, the answers were in there, and then I guess the teachers maybe complained, so now in 2024, they put some of them in, but then some of them not in. I don't know what they're gonna do for 2025. I don't know if they're gonna keep some in, some not, like, the odds are gonna be listed and the evens won't, or if they're gonna go back to posting all of them. But the cool thing about the step-by-step books is if you purchase them, you can also get, with some of the packages, an online course included, like a self-study kind of course where it's just like, you would register that you're studying for the CPC exam with the AAPC, and it'll kind of give you they're not like lectures or anything, but kind of like a little something extra of a course, some text things and stuff to go through. So that's what I would recommend. Do you know where we can find a good E&M audit worksheet tool? That is an excellent question. Depends on what your goals are. So if you're someone who's needs it because you're studying for the CPC exam, I would say to use the one that the AAPC has. Let's see if I can find it on their website. Software and services, maybe codify calculators and tools. So they have an E&M calculator, and it's the same one that they embed in their certification exams. So if you're taking the CPC or the CPMA and you're on that online platform, they're going to give you this E&M calculator embedded in the platform so that this is what you can use. Other than that, I like the ones that NamUs has. I think they make you register for their email address, for their mailing list when you sign up for theirs. Let me take a look real quick. Let me go out of. But they have ones that are pretty good. Let's see here. Free resources. If we go to the NamUs free resources, on demand, Workly, there's an E&M mind map. Yeah. So these are their revised medical decision-making charts, their E&M charts, and you can download those off the NamUs website. This is the office-based one, but like I said, I think they make you put in, yeah, your information so that they can add you to the mailing list. Which I know some people have issue with, but technically speaking, you can sign up, get in the mailing list, and then when they send you an email, just be like, I unsubscribe to this. Let me check on my Instagram people real quick and see if I've got anything coming through with them. So I have a couple of questions here. I'm from India and preparing for the CPC exam. Can you give me some tips on how to pass the exam? Yes, I can. That is exactly what I do right on my YouTube channel. So if you go to, let's get out of there before everyone sees everything that I'm watching on YouTube with my recommended feed. A lot of it is Disney stuff, but you never know. YouTube sometimes will go out and recommend some wild stuff out there. Let's take a look though. Okay, so if you go to my main channel page, there's a CPC review, and I actually just went through and updated this. So now it used to not have some of the first couple of things that they kind of teach you in a medical coding or CPC curriculum. So business of medicine, med term, ICD-10, CM, this is updated. Like these just got done in the past few weeks. You can tell because of the pink hair. And then it starts getting into the different chapters. I think I might actually be missing one, but I did update everything that I have that's on the list. So you can just go through all of that. Very, very helpful. Excited about that. I am. I'm trying to get through all of the comments today, but it's like insane how much is coming through today. I don't know if y'all are off for Veterans Day and decided, hey, I'm going to watch Victoria's live stream, which I love. Karen says, I work on site as a biller and work from home as an HCC coder. That's cool. I only have the CPC certification. What are the advantages of getting the CPB and or CRC? If you're already working in the field as a biller and you have your CPC, I wouldn't say they're going to give you a huge edge to get either of those. A lot of the billing jobs, they really don't look for the certifications. They're like, "Oh, if you have a medical coding certification, we like that," but they don't always look for a billing certification per se. So I'm not sure the CPB would take. I feel like if you were choosing between 2, like, you're like, "I don't know what I wanna get. Should it be the CPB or the CRC?" I would say go for the CRC, only because it demonstrates more of a proficiency in risk adjustment coding, and I feel like that's gonna financially work out for you more. Those positions tend to pay more than billing, so if you really wanna lean into risk adjustment coding and do more of that, I would say maybe go for the CRC. Unless, um yeah, I feel like if you're not working in pro fee coding right now, it'd be hard to say like, "Oh, go for your auditing credential," which I would support if you did, because It's always nice to have that in your back pocket, but if you're not actively working in CPT codes, it's kinda hard then to make the jump from auditing. So if it was me personally, I would say go with CRC. I have a question here. Can you please tell me exam time management? So the CPC exam is 100 questions. It is currently multiple choice. There is talk about adding in some fill in the blanks potentially. I haven't heard for 2025 definitively yet. I feel like if they were, we would at this point. So I don't know. It might be cutting it kind of close. They have to analyze a lot of stuff yet. But for time management, what I would say is really do the AAPC practice exams because they are on the platform that looks pretty much exactly identical to the actual exam. So if you're taking the practice exams and falling short, you know that you need to work on your time. Really look at the answers first because sometimes you might get overwhelmed looking at this long page long operative report and be like, "Oh my god, I really got to read through this." And then if you look at the question, it might just be like, "Hey, what's the ICD-10 CM codes?" And in that case, like, you can go back and kind of look at and go, "Okay, well, out of when I'm reading this, I wanna focus on the diagnoses more so than the procedures," right? So really look at what are they asking you for? What are the potential answers that they're giving you? And then go back and look at that page-long report and kind of piece it through. If you're familiar with the platform, you'll understand a little bit more of how to skip through questions. So if you're looking at something and you're like, "Hey, I know this one-page op report question has the exact same weight as a midterm question." You can flag it and go back, and you'll can navigate a little bit easier through that, so really, really work on that. If you don't have the money for the practice exams, the AAPC does have some updated reviews where they kind of show you the platform and how to navigate through it. Katie Bell says, "Hey, Victoria, I just got my first coding job." Congratulations, Cody. That's exciting, Katie. That's exciting. I will be working in department coding a lot of E&M. Do you have a refresher course or any recommendations or study guides for books to brush up on E&M? So there's a couple of things you can do. I do have a course on evaluation and management. I believe it's on my website at contempocoding.com. It's $50 if you're interested in that. You could also consider the study guide for the CEMC, which is the Certified E&M Coder credential through the AAPC. What's the other good ones? Oh, I do have some free resources available on the channel. So if you go to here, evaluation and management coding. So I do have a playlist here on how to code for E&M services, so you can check that out as well. That's another free resource that's available for you. And don't forget that the AAPC has that E&M calculator that you can use for free. So if you ever want to check through um, some of your E&M services that way, that's a good free tool that's out there as well. I have a question here from Stacy, and it says, "I just bought the 2024 exam with the 2025 books since it is end of year. I will take the test in January. Will that work out since they are different years?" So with the AAPC exams, assuming that we're talking about the AAPC exams, a HEMA is different. So let me know if you're talking about a HEMA because that's a totally different process. But with the AAPC exams, they all change January 1 of every year. So even though we've updated our ICD-10 CM codes on October 1st, those won't appear in the exam until January 1. It changes on calendar year, not by the date that the all the code sets change. So in 2025, you can use 2025 CPT ICD-10 CM and HCPCS books, or you can use 2024 CPT ICD-10 CM and HCPCS books. There's nominal changes, so it probably won't make or break your passing or failing the exam. I would hate to question that if I did use 2024 books. Um, But even if you bought the voucher now, if you're taking it in January, you will be taking the 2025 exam. Once January 1 hits, there's no going back and taking the 2024 exam. Everything changes per calendar year. So, you will be able to, you'll be testing on the 2025 code sets in 2025 in January. Someone just asked, let's see. I do so there's a lot of questions coming through Daily Devotions with Tony Girl, and there's no prejudiced against one person or another. It's just whatever I happen to see first. If you would like your question to be guaranteed to be answered, I would say to submit a super chat. Those are the ones that get highlighted and go get a higher preference of being submitted. But, other than that, it's just whatever I happen to see first. Sometimes I'm working on a question for a while until I scroll back to make sure the more current stuff is up. They just get missed. There's just a lot of questions. Let's see. I saw something. So Emily's asking, "Hey Victoria, I just scheduled my exam with the proctor at home. I've heard people saying the exam at home is split up into 2 days. Is that true?" It is not. It used to be true. They used to let you split it into 2 different sections, so you could take one on one day and one on the other, so half and half. They do not do that anymore. The reason they used to do that is because the exam used to be a longer length. So someone might be speaking something to you that they really truly believe is true. They're not trying to misdirect you, but they might not realize that it's been updated since then. So it's the 4-hour exam and it's 4 hours. If you need to take a break or whatever, you have to communicate that with your proctor and it doesn't stop the clock for the at home proctored exam where they're watching you through the camera. The only exception might be ADA. I don't know if maybe for the Americans with Disabilities Act stuff, they do break it up. That's a possibility, and it's a case by case thing, so I can't say that you're going to be or someone else might be. You'd have to contact the AAPC for that, if that's the situation. Mm. Not sure if you saw my questions above. I would love to know if you offer any tutorial for the CCS exam. I have my CPC and I'm taking my CCS very exam. No, I don't do CCS stuff. I don't do PCS coding, so I'm not. I know this much PCS coding, so I'm useless as far as preparing for the CCS exam. I'm also not. I will tell you very. I will definitely display for anyone my personal biases whenever I know I have them. I'm not the biggest fan of AHEMA. So I'm not a member and I don't have a ton of AHEMA oriented kind of stuff. I'm trying to think who I could direct you to for CCS preparation. Hmm. Who do I know that's good that does CCS? Yeah, if I think of anyone, I'll let you know though. I'm not sure off the top of my head who I know that does CCS prep. Okay. What else have we got here? Is the exam multiple choice or do we have is the exam multiple choice or we have to write codes down? Can you direct me through to PCS? Thanks. So PCS I don't do. Um, if you're talking about the CPC exam currently is 100 multiple choice questions. There might be some fill in the blanks, and everything is done electronically, so you can't write. There's no writing down. You don't even have a pencil to like write down notes in your book or scratch or anything like that. So it's all on an electronic platform, currently using paper books, although they're still talking about, I think, eventually using ebooks. I'm taking the med coding and billing through Preppy. Thank you for recommending. Is the CPT Plus book the same as the CPT Professional? No. So the reason that they offer that book as opposed to the AMA one is because a lot of these programs, Preppy included, they wanna keep the cost down for the students because not everyone wants to take the CPC exam. Some people just wanna do billing, and if they're not taking a certification, like, we kinda wanna keep the cost down for everyone in general. So, there is a separate book that you will need to take to get if you are specifically going for the CPC exam. Um, if you contact Preppy and let them know that you're going for that exam, they'll make sure that you're getting the right books. But what they do, I believe, is offer ebooks, and then if you need those for whatever certification, you can contact them to obtain the right books, or you could just order them from the AAPC as well. Speaking of which, if you are interested in getting a career in medical billing and coding and you want to know like, "Hey Victoria, tell me, how do I someone who has no healthcare experience or a little bit of healthcare experience get trained and be job ready in medical billing and coding?" Is I would say you should check out my medical coding masterclass at medicalcodingmasterclass.com, and it will tell you like, this is the career, this is what it is. Here's what employers are looking for. Here's your salary expectations. It kind of gives you like that whole roadmap of like, this is what to expect. This is what to expect. This is what to expect. This is what you need to do. And then send you over to Preppy and they can help get you started in your career in medical billing and coding. And they they are amazing. I occasionally will get things from viewers where they're like, "Hey, I didn't like this or that about Preppy," or like, "I can't do this." And I'll email Preppy and be like, "Oh yeah, that person. We just talked to them yesterday. We handled this. We had," like, they're so on top of things. It's insane. My viewers give me feedback and I take it back to Preppy and they've made like the craziest strides. Like, they're so on top of things. They're like, "Yeah, we started a tutoring center. We're getting more externship." Like, they're on top of it. It's crazy. So I highly, highly recommend going with Preppy if you're looking for something that is affordable, if it's flexible, is it on demand, you can do it on your at your own pace. It's a great program, and you get when you finish, you get a certificate from Auburn University, so it's not like some fly by night thing, it's literally through, like, a proper college. Let's see, let's going back. I'm trying to get through these questions, you guys. I mean, there's so many of them today, so I apologize if it seems like I am intentionally missing anyone, but there's just a lot of questions. I know I saw something up here I wanted to talk about. Where was it? I know someone was asking about what kind of soft skills are good for a career in HIM. I can't find it now. Oh, there it is. Wait. No, I lost it again. Yeah, what are some soft skills that you could think of could help prepare for a career in health information management? Um, Probably a lot of attention to detail. You need a lot of accuracy when you're working with patient medical records, when you're working in coding, when you're working in compliance, and those tiny little mistakes they can cause significant issues. Communication skills are usually pretty hardy and needed in HIM to be able to submit appropriate provider queries without like leading the provider in any way. And you have to kind of look at that complex data and the coding rules and be able to properly communicate that to the providers, to administrative staff, etc. Um, Time management, being able to problem solve, being able, adaptable, being able to work independently. I think in a lot of HIM and coding type of positions, a lot of healthcare, even just business of healthcare type stuff, administrative work, being able to kind of work independently and have those analytical skills that you can piece through something a little bit or to the best of your ability before you're like knocking on your manager's door about it. That's usually pretty appreciated. Is it just me or is there no consistency in the rules that Practicode goes by? I'm trying to get through to get my A off of my COCA, but I never know whether or not to code a non-addressed condition. Practicode's a little tough. My best suggestion would be to join one of the Facebook groups out there pertaining to Practicode. I know there are some. I have never looked at the COC cases for that, so I can't say if they are or are not consistent. Um, it's a complex thing and it's frustrating and I totally respect that and understand that, but I would say maybe try to look to some of those Facebook groups to see if there's any support there. And if you genuinely are struggling, I would contact the AAPC. I know they don't have support per se for Practicode, but I believe there is an email address somewhere out there you can email them. And I would say, like, "This is the case I'm wor," like, send them screenshots because they're not gonna be able to, like, read your mind and know what case you're working on. So be like, "This is this, and this is this," and, like, send as many screenshots and, like, visualize stuff that so that they know, like, exactly what you're talking about. There's a question here from Mickey. It says, "Hello, I took a summer college course, super intense, big mistake. I got most of it. I told the teacher that I missed the class on dissecting a medical report and no help. How do I study for that now?" I do have some videos on that. So if you go, some of these might be a little bit older, so some of the cases have changed since then. I don't ever get rid of old stuff that might have outdated codes because, like, I don't first off have the capacity to go back and double check and see like, "Oh, out of the 500 videos I made, like, this one has an updated code." Um, but there is on the website some case studies, and I think I do have some stuff here on like, you can kinda see where I'm literally just, like, going through the operative reports and stuff. Sometimes I look at these things and I'm like, "Did I really do that? What's going on in this video?" Drinking eggnog. So sometimes I forget, like, how ridiculous some of this stuff used to be. Anyway, I think I also have one that might specifically be on dissecting operative reports. Let's take a look. Uh, yeah, medical coding, how to dissect the operative report. So I do have some resources available on the channel that you can check out. Where was it? Finishing out the curriculum for medical coding, need to pass that test, then I will get the voucher for the Big Kahuna certification. This is all good information. I'm glad it's helping you out, Kathy. Um, Thanks for all your tips. Can you clarify if ambulance billing is on CPC or COC exam? There's really not a lot of ambulance billing on the CPC. There might be a little bit on the COC. I don't see a huge emphasis of it. I don't remember a huge emphasis of it on either. But I feel like the COC might have touched it on it a little bit. I have a question here. Hey, Victoria, I have 5 years experience in medical billing in India. I started to study medical coding CPC. Now I am in US. Is it possible to get a job medical coding in the US? Yes, there are medical coding jobs that are available. As far as who and what and where, I would say just connect with a lot of people on LinkedIn and see what's available. I don't keep up too much on all the job boards. um, that's just, there's a lot of different directions I could move in, and that's just not one that I particularly do. But connect with different recruiters out there and just see what's available. Your CPC though is really going to be that golden ticket. It's going to be that big first step getting you in there. Ugh, sorry, drinking my trying to keep my water up because I already chugged all the iced coffee that I have. For those of you that are just tuning in, I just want to remind everyone if you want to order your Thanksgiving coding shirt, you should probably do it within the next week just to make sure that it gets there in time because sometimes around the holidays they get backed up and it's going to be a good idea to get those orders in. Contempocoding.com. What is Preppy? Is it course only includes certification exams? So Preppy only includes your training and a certificate, but not like a certification like the CPC. Excuse me. So they will include your training if you pay all at once. I believe in most cases they will include a free Chromebook for you to have. Um, you get tutoring, you get a certificate of completion, you get an externship, which there are not a lot of programs out there that will offer you an externship. Those are super, super hard to come by, like ridiculously hard to come by. But it will not include your membership to the AAPC or any organizations, and it will not include your exam fee. So those you do have to pay out separately. And even if you do, it still comes out significantly less than a lot of the other programs out there. The reason that they don't include that is because not everyone wants to go for the CPC. Some people just want to do billing. So it's kind of like a general program that they keep the cost low. And then if you want to go for coding, you can pay for the extras. But not everyone does. No, some people just want to do billing. Karen Davis, thank you for becoming a YouTube channel member. Appreciate you. How long is the wait to remove the apprentice off the CPC? So that's a great question. So for those of you who are not aware, if you take the CPC exam and you do not have 2 years of medical coding experience or the equivalent, you will be designated a CPC A. And it'll say on your certificate, there's this little CPC A. You cannot put down that you are a full-fledged CPC. If you are not a full-fledged CPC, you can get into some, well, I shouldn't say you can get into problem, but the ethics committee will probably get reported to, and you'll get probably a little tap on the shoulder going, "Hey, hey, you're not supposed to do that." So any case, um, if you're like, "Hey, I wanna fast track this, I don't wanna wait until I get 2 years experience," there's a couple of things that will each take off of a year of those 2 years. One of them is doing Practicode, which is when they give you a huge amount of coding cases, redacted coding cases, and you have to code them from scratch. There's no multiple choice. It's just, here's some boxes for some CPT codes. Here's some boxes where you can put ICD-10 CM codes or modifiers, whatever, and you fill them all in. There's no support. There's no tutor. There's no teacher. There's nothing. You just have to code them all. And once you complete them all and get a certain amount correct, that will take a year off. The other thing that will take a year off is if you can prove that you had 80 contact hours of medical coding curriculum. It doesn't need to be through an accredited program. It could be from a technical school. It could be from your college. It could be from an independent instructor, as long as they can prove that you had 80 contact hours. So if you get a transcript, you get something on there that has proof that you did 80 contact hours, which means not self-study, unfortunately. Um, you can submit that, and that will also take off a year. So you can, if you do Practicode and you have those 80 contact hours, which Preppy does count for the 80 contact hours, they will give you the information saying that you did the 80 contact hours of education. Then you can get your apprenticeship status removed. Or you could do like the 80 contact hours and a year of experience, or you could do the Practicode and a year of experience. So those are the things that will help get rid of your apprenticeship status. The benefit of getting rid of the apprenticeship status is that there are some jobs that will just say no CPCAs or no apprentice coders. So that'll open up some more doors for you. Does it count as 2 years of experience or a year of experience doing Practicode? No. But it will open up the doors for the ones specifically that are told, "Do not hire CPCAs." Daniel asks, "Are there specialty certifications that would be attractive to employers besides the CPC? I'm looking at going into an eye center for coding and want to stand out." I don't know that we have one for eye. I don't think there's I think there maybe was at one point. Let's take a look. Let's go to the AAPC website and we'll take, this is Codify. I don't want to be in Codify. I want to be on the AAPC website and we'll take a look because I don't think they have an eye one, but we can all look together. Let's go to certifications, view all certifications. Okay. So there are specialty certifications. They have one for the major specialties. What happened was they used to have a few more, and they were sunset because there weren't enough people taking them to offset the cost of paying people to maintain them and review the information. So, like, I have a specialty certification in plastic and reconstructive surgery. I get to keep that certification. I still have to get CEUs for it, but no one else is allowed to test for it. And that's because it's just there weren't enough people interested in it that it offset the cost of all of the people that were had to update the information and print all the study guides and all that stuff. So we have coder, biller, risk adjustment coder, outpatient coder, inpatient coder, pro-fee medical auditor, physician practice manager, compliance officer, documentation expert outpatient, documentation expert inpatient. Those are the cores. And then we get into some of the specialty stuff. So E&M, ambulatory surgery, anesthesia, cardiology, cardiovascular and thoracic surgery, emergency department, family practice, gastroenterology, general surgery, heme onc, interventional radiology, cardiovascular coder, obstetrics, gynecology. Here we go. Ophthalmology. Okay. So there we go. I was wrong. I thought we didn't have one anymore. We do. So there's the certified ophthalmology coder. So that might be helpful if you're working in an eye center for sure. And the specialty exams actually tend to be a little bit cheaper to take than the core credentials. So this is just $299. I think that's if probably for one attempt. And let's see here. Prepare for the exam. Need exam prep. Take our online self-paced instruction course. Everything you need to know starting at $660. So you can get a full bundle. Let's see what this includes. For $659.99, you can get the online course, 2 exam attempts, a study guide, and a coder specialty guide, which isn't too bad. Although, you guys, Black Friday deals have already started, and there's usually a lot of them. And then they go into the 12 rays of Christmas, so there's gonna be a lot of deals coming up with the AAPC. I actually at one point bought their like all of the course is that you can take for the next 3 years thing. I still haven't gotten through them because the one that I'm currently signed up for, I don't finish. I need to get to it. There's so many things that I can do, and, I really yeah, that's probably one I should get back on. Wouldn't that be a crazy video if I was like, "I got every AAPC credential there is in 3 years." Oh my gosh. That would be a hearty achievement. I don't know that I would wanna have to worry about all those specialty CEUs. 'Cause that's the other thing, once you get a specialty certification, like, if you wanna go for one that's in ophthalmology or an OBGYN or dermatology, you have to get some CEUs that are specific to that specialty, and those can sometimes be hard to find depending on what specialty you're in. A lot of them, they'll use, some of the general sessions for all of the different specialties. So if there's like an E&M updates or there's a CPT updates or there's the ICD-10-CM updates, those will apply to all the specialties. But otherwise, like if you're working in derm, you have to find webinars or chapter meetings that are specific to skin and derm coding in order to keep those CEUs, in order to get those CEUs and keep the credential. This is a great question. Some people have said that the CRC exam is slightly easier than the CPC exam. Is this in any way true? With the help of maybe study guides and exams. So, the cool thing about the CRC is that it only tests you on one code set, which is ICD-10-CM. So, if you don't like CPT, obviously you're going to find the one that just focuses on ICD-10-CM a heck of a lot easier, right? So, that's part of it. So CRC is a little bit easier in that way. It's not though just an ICD-10-CM exam. So you have to know a bunch of other stuff. You have to know about risk adjustment models. You have to know a lot. A lot. Documentation issues. It focuses, though, a lot, I will say, on certain conditions, expensive chronic conditions, right? So not so much questions about getting the flu or getting a UTI, more so questions about cancer and stroke and HIV, and those particular guidelines. I do have study materials for the CRC. So if you're someone who's like, I already have my CPC and I don't want to have to repeat learning medical terminology and the basics of ICD-10-CM. If you go on my website, I'm rebuilding my library, so I only have 2 courses available right now. The beginning is beginner's guide to E&M, and then excuse me, the risk adjustment coding companion course. So this is good if you're going for the CRC or the RAC micro credential. It's, I believe, about 4 hours long. It's on demand. This is good for both years 2024 and 2025. I'll be making a new course for 2026. It's $200. Um, and it really focuses in on just like what do you need to know for the exams? What are the things you really need to focus on for studying and stuff? So if you're someone who's like, I think I can just about do this on my own. You might want to look on enrolling in my course and then getting the CRC study guide, and that'll probably get you there, honestly. What can we do about CPC practice exam books? Is there a place to send them or a person who can use them? Check with your local community colleges because the college I went to, we weren't required to buy books and we would just use old books. So sometimes you can donate them there. There used to be a Facebook group that I think Brian Quee used to have where they would swap books like that, but I'm not sure if it still exists and I can't off the top of my head tell you what it was called, but there are some places that might take them. What's the best starter bundle if you're brand new to the coder universe? Depends on your goals. I always recommend signing up for Preppy if you're looking for a self-study course. If you're someone who needs like individual instruction, you can go on aapc.com and buy one of their instructor-led programs, and those are usually pretty good. You can also check your tech schools if you're self-studying or if you're just like if you're speaking specifically to books. I like the books from the AAPC. They do have the exam bundle and the Coder bundle are exactly the same. Um, but I would say their books are good. If you're studying for the CPC exam, make sure that you're getting material that's focused for the CPC exam. I don't want to disregard my Instagram people. I'm just now realizing I have I have questions here coming through from Instagram. Hi, I finished a CPC class and have paid for the membership, but I am terrified of taking the test and not passing. Any tips to overcome this fear? Completing the test within time. So if you're trying to finish it before 2024, definitely get the AAPC practice exams. If you can't afford the practice exams, go through their demonstration video that they have of how to use the platform for the CPC exam so that you're familiar with how to skip questions, how to flag them, how to bring up your E&M calculator and all of that. And go through the material that I have on the channel here because I do have a refresher that I updated the playlist on. Let's see, bring it up here. View your channel. Okay. And that playlist is this isn't autoplay. Okay, good. That playlist is here. That's the review. So there's the CPC review. So those are like, here's the top things to know for these chapters. Here's some practice materials. And then there's also the exam tips, which are like, I'm going to sit for my exam. What do I need to know? So I have lots of cool playlists. I have, if you're just getting started in medical billing and coding, like, and you want to know, like, start here. So that's good. That's what I would say. If you're taking a course where you were given the CPC curriculum books or you're given the step-by-step medical coding books, go through and answer those questions that maybe you didn't go through when you were practicing. So maybe your teacher assigned you only like half of the chapter review questions, go through and finish the other half. Practice makes perfect. And there's also one here that came through on Instagram. I'm from India and preparing for the CPC exam. Can you give me some tips? Yep, this is exactly where you need to go on the channel review. Let me see what else, because oh my gosh, the Instagram ones don't pull in from my on my feed. Um, please upload anatomy questions for November exam. I don't really do a lot of anatomy stuff. I feel like there's just so many resources for anatomy. Excuse me. That are not medical coding related that are good for that. Um, all right. And there we go. I'm gonna take one more question. K for Kitchen asks, "In what specialty did I start as entry-level position after passing the CPC? Whatever you can get in healthcare, take it. Try the medical coding jobs. If you can't get a medical coding job, look for accounts receivable, look for scheduling, look for registration, look at Project Extern too to see if there's externships availability in your area. I don't know that there's necessarily a better place to start or one that's easier or will suit you better. When you're entry level, you kind of have to look at the revenue cycle as a whole and start applying for, whatever you can. Just be careful. I do have a job tip stuff. So if you're looking for some tips on like how do I interpret these job postings and stuff, I have one for oh yeah, there we go. Looking for a medical coding job, here's all my best advice. Review that video as well. That's a really, really good one that you wanna check out. Anyway, guys, this is why I don't do workshops because after an hour, my voice is just dead. So, thank you guys for tuning in. I am so excited to be back here, with you guys. I will be back probably either next Monday or the one after. Until then, just keep on coding on.